Welcome everyone to Old Roommates. This week on the show, we are revisiting controversial sex videos from Madonna and George Michael. So, run yourself a cold shower now, my friends. You're gonna need it. The episode is about to begin.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Old Roommates, the only podcast that revisits pop culture through a middle-aged lens. This is Brian.
And this is Christina.
And we are talking today about those controversial MTV 80s music videos.
Mm-hmm.
I Want Your Sex by George Michael and Justify My Love. I'm sorry, that's from 90 actually. Justify My Love is from 90 by Madonna. We begin, as we always do, we're going to start with the George Michael video for I Want Your Sex. Christina, please tell us your relationship with I Want Your Sex.
Thank you so much for asking, Brian. I was a huge fan of George Michael. Loved his videos, loved his music. I remember this video as being, quote, controversial because of the sex, because of the crotch shots and things like that. But I loved this video. I thought this video was great. I loved the dancing. I loved him. He really could do very little wrong for me. So I really loved this video. I loved the song. I loved everything about it. What about you, Brian? What about... Oh. I mean, there's not much else for me to say, except for I love it.
Yeah, this is funny. So I remember this video vividly. I remember those black satin sheets. And there's a couple shots where, like, you see, like, a man's leg. I'm assuming it's his leg. And it's, like, tan. And I remembered that. And I remembered... because I think... So this, I believe, was the first single off of Faith.
I think so.
And
right.
so it's a different looking George Michael.
Yes.
And so I do remember the sex.
Oh, yes.
And I think that, because at this point I was 15 years old, I think that sort of that sound, I don't know, it was like, oh my God, should I even be listening to this filth? But it's funny because I don't think I knew what monogamy was, and it's like explore monogamy. But I remember feeling like I totally understand why I probably shouldn't be watching this.
It had that a little bit of that naughtiness to, like,
well, the blindfolds and the water,
Yes, definitely the water. So what about now? You want to dive into
let's dive right in.
So when did you watch this?
So here's the thing. Usually with the videos, how I approach it is I'll watch the video like a couple days before, and then I'll watch it like real with like my notebook in hand.
Yeah.
Like as close to the episode sometimes as I can. So I did watch the video a couple times a couple days ago. Watched it again last night, and then I watched it this morning with like my notes, my pen and notebook.
Oh, someone has a lot of time on.
But they're 4-minute videos. So but I do love our music video episodes. I do too.
I do too.
And but yes, I did. I took quite some notes, and I did a little tiny bit of research. But yeah, it was really this morning that I rewatched it. I will say, so I don't know if I want to do a little bit of trivia first. So this is May 18th, 1987, 36 years ago. It's from the Beverly Hills Cop 2 soundtrack. I don't remember that at all, yes.
I don't remember that at all either.
It sold 2 million copies, okay? So this was a number 2 hit on the Billboard chart. England, I thought it was America, but actually England was the one who said we can only show this video after hours, because they were concerned, because this is around the time of AIDS, like where it was like there were a lot of AIDS awareness campaigns, like wear a condom, don't have sex, blah blah blah, and then here we are saying I want your sex. So
but the message is one-on-one.
It says it right in there, absolutely.
Yes.
The lyrics,
she's waiting, and he or she is waiting, and it's like he talks about like I've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and now I want your sex. Like I've waited long enough. So it's a different message than what they were trying to.
I know, and I think that's the thing. I think the video was just shocking to some people, but yeah, it says explore monogamy. It is sex is best when it's one-on-one is the lyric, and yeah. So I mean, some people a little a misguided type of ban, but George Michael wrote it. Obviously, he sang it, and then he played all the instruments.
Did he really? Love this man.
He wrote it in a music studio because he knew he wanted to make a dance, like a funk dance song. And he said, whenever I'm in the mood to make a dance song, I always do music first, and I sort of add the lyrics later on. So, but that was that. And I will say, middle-aged lens, I'm going to be really honest with you and say I wanted more sex.
Interesting.
I think there was too much George Michael. It was way too many close-ups of him and facial expressions. And I think the sexiest parts were the black satin sheets, the tan skin on the black satin sheets, and like the lipstick on the leg. Like, this video is sexy. I wish there was more sexy.
Interesting.
Yeah. How about you?
So I watched Justify My Love first.
Okay.
And then I watched I Want Your Sex. I don't know if I would feel differently about it if I had watched it in a different order.
Okay.
But I really liked this video a lot.
Okay.
Yes, there was a lot. I was surprised at the amount of George Michael.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved watching him. My first note is he is so sexy in this. The first face. But it did sort of take a while for the sex. But I truly enjoyed watching him. So I was really happy to see him in between the sexy scenes, dancing. Like, I just wanted to dance with him. It was fun. His scenes were light. I felt like the sex scenes weren't even that bad.
No.
Until a little bit later on with the water on the back and things like that. That was a little bit more racy.
Yeah.
But, I mean, up until that point, the raciest part was watching this woman walk, just a cross shot, basically, of her walking in her corset or whatever.
Yeah.
But all in all, I felt like the whole tone of the video was a lot less sex and more sort of sensual, beautiful.
Yeah. At the end, there's a lot of quick cuts with them rolling around in the sheets. And I liked that. I do think it's very stylish. I think it looks great.
Stylish was the word I was looking for, yes.
Yeah, it's really, and I do think it really holds up. I think the cinematography, just like the clarity of the picture, I'm assuming it's been digitally remastered, because when I was watching it on YouTube, it was beautiful. Like, it's really nicely done. I just think, like, again, middle-aged lens, it's like, this is about, I want your sex with this one person, and it feels much more George Michael forward than sex.
Yeah, and I feel also, I think it was sort of, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to explain. I feel like he purposely is making a statement, probably because of everything that was happening with the AIDS and everybody's afraid of sex and nobody should be having sex anymore. Blah 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 blah. And he purposely went in here making this beautiful, sensual, stylish video about monogamy.
Yeah. It's also his girlfriend in the video.
And that's right. Yeah, I remembered that, but I forgot it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I enjoyed it, and I will tell you, after I stopped watching it, I wanted to watch it again. Like, this is a video that I wanted to watch over and over and over again, and I think I did way back when. I liked the dancing in between. I liked all of that. I felt like it was fresh and like a positive. And it made me feel good. Do you know what I mean? All of those things. Yeah. And I wonder, Brian, if we were... So, the subject of this video, Rewatch, is controversial sex. Yeah. Right? I wonder if it was just George Michael videos and we chose this and another video. I wonder if you would feel as let down from the sex. Do you know what I mean, though?
Oh, no, fair. Yeah, fair. Yeah. I think, like, again, that middle-aged lens of, like, remembering things. And it's not as It's not as racy as I thought it.
No,
Excuse me, thought it
absolutely,
was.
I agree with you 110%, as opposed to 1,000%.
But that's funny. That's a good note.
Yeah, sort of looking at it that way, it might be different. So,
well, I will say the lyrics is like you had mentioned earlier. It's like, I've waited so long, baby. Now that we're friends, every man's got his patience, and here's where mine ends.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little aggressive.
That's a bit aggressive, yes. And I thought of that before I even watched the video. I'm like, oh, this might not age well.
So I'm gonna say, I actually think I liked. Do I mean that? Yeah, in a way, I think I actually like the song better than the video, although not to ruin anything.
No.
But Justify My Love, where we'll talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to compare and contrast for sure.
But the other lyric, so this is something weird. When he's like, I want your sex, and it says, I want your sex, and he says, I want your, and he says, love. I swear to God, it sounds like womb.
Did you look up the lyrics?
I did, and it says love.
Because
it sounds like womb. Yeah.
And when you're watching him sing it, it looks like he's saying womb.
Completely.
Because that was always something I wasn't sure about.
Yeah.
Always. That one word. And even watching it this morning, I watched it this morning. Even watching it this morning, I'm like, does he say love or does he say womb? I feel like he says womb.
According to the lyrics, he says love, but I'm telling you, he says womb.
Yeah, I think.
And I wrote it right out. I was like, there's no way that he's saying love. But that's just our take.
That is just
But
our
it's
take.
funny, we did not discuss this before.
No, we did not. No.
And then the next batch of lyrics are relevant because of Justify My Love.
Yes, I did.
Yes. Okay, so it's sex. I'm not your father. Sex. I'm not your brother. Sex. Talk to your sister. I am a lover. When we get to Justify My Love, it's just, to me, this is so funny because there's nothing that would spoil the mood more.
Right? Yeah.
Than someone getting me to think about my family members.
Right? Seriously, I'm not your. Yeah, let's think of my father.
Also, is it
think of my brother?
Yeah, exactly. Also, why did he think that she would be confused at that point in their relationship?
I don't know. Unless he's feeling like this feels like a platonic relationship, so I need you to see me as a man that I am and have sex with me because I'm not your father, I'm not your brother. Is it your? Yeah, I'm not your father, I'm not your brother. Have sex with me. I think that's what he's trying to say in this. So did you write down the Madonna lyrics from Justify My Love?
Do you want to hear them?
Yes.
I don't want to. Well, she is just talking. I don't want to be your mother. I don't want to be your sister either. I just want to be your lover.
Yeah. And then she says, doesn't she say, I want something about a baby?
She wants a lot of things and Justify My Love.
A lot of things she wants. So anyway, yes, I thought that, I love that we compared and like we have these two videos because it is such a great comparison. I think this is probably my favorite comparison of videos.
Oh, really? Okay.
Since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
For us.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's so appropriate, and I don't think we even really thought too much about the videos.
No,
aside from
it was
saying,
the
let's do some controversial sex videos. And you know what's really, really funny? When we were talking about this, you said Justify My Love, and I said Justify My Love, and I was thinking about the song. The video I was thinking about was Like a Prayer.
Oh, really?
Isn't that so funny?
Oh, that's so funny.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's right. That was Like a Prayer. Anyway, because that was controversial too. Madonna was good about those controversial things.
I do want to say it's funny before we get into Justify My Love. Like, I remember one summer, and it was like the summer of summer of 90 actually. And Julie McDonald, Alessi, and I were like, we spent a lot of time that summer together. And I remember driving around, and like the songs of the moment were Do Me Baby, or Do Me by Belle Biv DeVoe.
Yeah.
All I Want to Do Is Make Love to You by Heart. And I think, I could be wrong about that, and Just One was from November, but like, it was a funny thing where I'm like, and we had this little joke where it's like, so Mom and Dad, what were some of the big songs when you were my age? It's like, Do Me Baby. Yeah. But it's so, there was such a time, and it's like, and I'm guessing Salt and Peppa's in the mix in there too.
I'm sure, yes.
So it's like, but it's funny because we had this very weird time where it was like, sex is bad. Mm-hmm. You could die. And then, but everything on the radio is Do Me, All I Want to Do Is Make Love to You, Justify My Love. you know,
Yeah, it is pretty funny.
ain't
It
too
really
proud to
is.
beg. You know, I mean, it's like, yeah. But I digress. Shall we jump in?
Touch myself in there anywhere?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. How about, so Justify My Love.
Justify My Love, Madonna, 1990.
Your memory. So this is November 6th, 1990. Christina, any memories of this?
So
Back in the
my
day.
major memory of this video was you couldn't find it anywhere because it was banned.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember when I saw it or how I saw it, but that was like the big thing. It's like, oh my gosh, this Madonna video is so hot. And I feel like, wasn't it eventually played on MTV about like after midnight or something?
Yeah, it was like after 10 or 11 or something.
It was
like that,
really
yeah.
late though. I remember it being very, very late. And that's, you had to like sit there and watch MTV like half asleep to see this video.
They absolutely refused to show it.
Yes.
And then they made it into a, she made a video single. And it was like, not a surprise there, but it was, of course, it was like one of the best-selling video singles of all time. And then I think they did a couple little bits of editing. However, I don't want to jump, but it's like, so here's the funny thing. I can't even, so I remember the video pretty vividly. It was, I believe it was, the sex book was when? Not long after that. Yeah, as long as, but I'm telling you, I honestly don't effing remember this song being on the radio.
I don't think
it was a number one hit.
Was it?
It was her 9th number one hit. It was the lead single off of the Immaculate Collection. I know this song. I know this song very well, but I don't remember like driving in my Pontiac Sunbird, like playing "Justify My Love," and it was a number
why would you? It's
one
not really a dancey song. It's just like
it's so weird.
She talks through the whole thing.
Yeah.
There's barely any melody to it.
Do you know the history of this? Of what what she's actually reading? So Ingrid Chavez. I'm going to do a little bit of name dropping.
Okay.
So Ingrid Chavez had a history with Prince, I'll say allegedly, consistently. So I've met Ingrid Chavez, my friend Michael back in New York, did some work for her, and she I think she had an EP out. This is all like within the last, I'm going to say 10 years.
Okay.
And, but super nice lady. Like I kind of expected this, like, I don't know what I expected before I met her, but I knew the whole controversy of Justify My Love because allegedly this was written by Ingrid Chavez. It was a love letter to Lenny Kravitz.
What?
Lenny Kravitz, and she, so everything Madonna is saying is real. This was written by Ingrid to Lenny Kravitz. They were having an affair.
Wow.
And
this is amazing.
Yeah. And so Ingrid wrote it as a love letter. I wrote some of this down. Then, they were allegedly having an affair. Kravitz wanted the credit. He loved the letter so much he wanted to put it to music, but he wanted to keep the affair a secret, so he wanted Ingrid's name off of any rights and that kind of thing. And then he was talking to Madonna, and Madonna's like, I was looking for something like that, like the sexy thing. And he allegedly, so Ingrid was like sort of okay at first, but when the song became a huge hit, she's like, they wrote one line. Lenny Kravitz, the only line he wrote allegedly is "Justify My Love."
Okay.
And then Madonna, so then then Ingrid recorded a demo, gave it to Madonna, and she was like, oh, thank you so much, and we'll give you a little cut of this and all that. But then she's like, when she heard the song, she's like, she's not only like, it's word for word what she wrote, but Madonna was also allegedly reading it exactly how Ingrid read it to her. So she's like, then where's the collaboration here? They're just
you're just reading my letter.
Exactly. So there was a lawsuit and situations like that, and Ingrid, everyone ended up happy, basically.
Okay.
But this was a number
Except for
one.
Lenny Kravitz's wife.
Oh my God.
I'm not sure she was psyched.
But this was years later. This was years later, though. So, but how funny. But like, I cannot remember this song on the radio. I would find that to be so weird. I think "Justify My Love" is weirder to hear on the radio than like "Pac-Man Fever" or "Muskrat Love."
Yes.
"Muskrat Love." There's these songs that were huge hits. We're like, really? But
Fever.
at the same time, I'm going to say, I'm going to tell you this. This is another one. I watched it a few times, like over the course of a few days. The first time I watched it, I was like, this is boring. Truly, my first take, and I did watch it after I Want Your Sex.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You did that first. Okay.
So I was like, okay, it's like a perfume commercial. It's fine. Then I watched it again the next day, and I was like, you know what? I'm listening more to the words now, and it's like they're a little hypnotizing. It's very nice, and like now that's a love letter. It's a little deeper. Then I did a little bit of research about it, and that the whole concept is that she shows up to this hotel exhausted, but leaves energized from all this sex and sex play and role playing and ginger. And then I watched it through this lens of what the intention was. And I was like, oh, I like this so much more. I always like Tony Ward in this.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be honest, like, what you're saying, going back to then, like, yeah, I mean, I felt like I was watching something naughty. And it was mostly because of not the sex, because there's not a whole lot of sex. It's mostly just kissing.
Right.
But it was mostly because of the women drawing mustaches on themselves and wearing, women wearing men's clothes, and you think Madonna's making out with him, but then suddenly it's a woman, and so, but
definitely like envelope pushing there.
Yeah, but I have to be really honest. I don't know back then if I found it sexy as much as I found it like, ooh, you shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
And now I don't know if I think the sexiest parts, ironically, are with Tony Ward. Yes. I think I think he might even be the only one of two men in this whole video. And, but I actually I think his acting is really good, actually. And, but this is filmed over 3 days in a Paris hotel. So I think when you know a bit more of the story, but at the same time, that shouldn't matter. The video should stand on its own. Of course. I thought it was really stylish. I liked him a lot. I liked Madonna in this a lot. But the weird guy dancing in the bodysuit, I don't know. I think it could have, again, I don't know what's wrong with me. I think this could have been sexier too. Yeah. I agree. So I didn't know. I talked a lot and I'm sorry. That's okay. I didn't know any of the background. Yeah. I didn't know where it was coming from. I didn't know any of that at all. So I'm looking at it as probably your average person looking at this video because I don't know if everybody really knew that background. And I would absolutely agree with you that knowing the background would enhance this video. So I'm watching this video. I watched it first. I like the black and white. Yeah. But truly, I'm watching this video and I'm like, she's doing things just to cause a stir. Yeah. And I feel like I felt that way back then. And I can see why I felt that way back then. Yeah. Watching it now. Yeah. Because everything she's doing, it's a shame, honestly. It's a shame because the video comes out and they're not talking about the lyrics. They're not talking about the artistry. They're not talking about the acting. They're talking about, oh my gosh. There's a boob. She's kissing a woman. Yeah. It's like all of this, like, you can't see it because we won't show it. So everyone's like, I have to see it now. And it's just all of that controversy is over. It just overshadows everything else. Yeah. And it's a shame. And I can see how that is still happening today by just watching it. I thought it was very steamy. And also, to me, it felt like almost dirty. I didn't feel like it was very sexy. It just felt a little bit dirty. Like, let's do this. Let's shock them by doing this. And it almost feels like she's manipulating the viewer. Do these things, but maybe do them in a way that's not so in your face. And let people decide whether or not it's controversial, whether or not it's sexy or thought-provoking. I didn't feel like any of that was there. I felt like it was more just, let's shock them. Yeah. Let's make headlines. I feel like Madonna just loves doing that anyway. She loves doing that. But she's not, the funny thing is that she's not the one how do I say that? She's not the one that like got herself in trouble and them not showing it. She wanted to. She said I read this little interview that she wanted to push the envelope a little bit. She didn't think she was even being that daring. She said it's mostly kissing.
Yeah.
And she's like, I mean, and she brings up AIDS in this. She says, and a lot of this is behind the scenes stuff, but she said, I would think in this day and age where people look at sex as like the enemy, and that it, she's like that a video with it, which is mostly kissing, would be okay.
It is mostly kissing, but there's a lot of sex suggestive.
Yeah.
Some, like there's a man going in between a woman's thighs and work, there's a lot of that gyrating. There's a lot of simulation sex. There's also a lot of multiple partners.
Yeah.
There's an orgy-ish thing happening there. So it's not really just sexy kissing. And it's almost a shame that all this other stuff is, because I feel like the kissing a woman is almost overshadowed by all the other stuff.
I mean, to your point, I didn't have any of these feelings that you're saying. I think, like, in terms of tying it as a cohesive video, I'm sure you're going to be like, oh, I wonder why, Brian. But since she's talking to this lover with this sort of, like, either one or the other. So this whole love letter is about this forbidden love. So either make it only about Tony and maybe his wife is like down the hall. Right?
Yeah.
Or you make it about this woman that she wants to make out with. So either or. So it's a little more cohesive. Because you're right. A lot of this stuff, like I mentioned, the guy dancing around that stocking thing.
That thing is stupid.
It's so odd.
It's
yeah.
not necessary.
But then there's women with like
although it was a little bit refreshing to see something else. Maybe that's probably why they like put something in there. Like
little breaks. Yeah.
Little break.
But then it's like you have the one with the drawn on mustaches, and there's definitely a couple of transgender folks. Which is like all these things for the time do push the envelope. But I think I relate to what you're saying in the sense of like, but you don't have to push so many envelopes in one video because it doesn't really make sense. Or maybe for a different song it would have made sense.
Yeah.
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 Because this video is like, it's all talking. Yeah.
It's all talking. Yeah, the song itself I never really loved anyway.
Yeah, right.
But I just felt like let it stand on its own.
Yeah. I appreciated all the chances she took, but having this conversation with you, I do agree that like it might just be a little just too much for what they're trying to do. But now I'm liking that idea. Like, what if it was just her and Tony, and like his wife's down the hall, and maybe she's having an affair too. Like they think they're being all sneaky, but maybe she's having an affair with a woman. Like maybe more of a story. Yeah. But I will say, Tony Ward is gorgeous.
He is gorgeous
in this, and a decent actor. For what he has to do.
Yes.
I think
love,
that
Oh, go ahead.
make love on a train cross country, and I'm like, well, that's fine. But what about the rest of the 12-hour trip?
Right.
Like, I mean, kind of gross. Like we talked about this before with these like, sexual like dialogue and lyrics, and like I want a blankety blank, and it's like, ew, really? Just you.
I will say, watching this one first,
yeah.
I think made me like the George Michael one better. So I appreciated the fact that there was less steaminess and sex in the George Michael video because I was almost like
exhausted.
Yeah, I'm exhausted from this. So that's why I was saying before, I think watching it in that order, it influenced how I felt.
So here's what I was going to say earlier. I didn't want to ruin too much, but like... for this conversation, it's one of those things where I like this. I Want Your Sex better as a song. I like the video for Justify My Love better, but I don't like the song as much as I like I Want Your Sex.
Interesting.
So I'm a little torn, but we are talking about videos here.
But about videos.
But again, that whole funny thing about like oh, and by the way, I watched this twice on my phone. The third time I watched it on my laptop. I don't even, I know I'm old, but I barely noticed the nipples on my phone.
Oh, I could have, I'm like, oh my God, how is this
were
like,
covering...
That was surprising to me.
Yeah.
I don't remember that from before.
Me neither.
And maybe it was just because, I mean, truly, I don't even know if I watched this more than once in my life before this. Like, this was not a movie.
Video, yeah.
This was not a video that I wanted to watch again.
Yeah.
I was exhausted by the end of it. It was just like, oh. And maybe it's because of my past and my orgies, but I'm kidding. But it was exhausting. I'm like, ugh, okay, and I'm done. So I just didn't watch it again. But if I had watched it a couple of times, I probably would have noticed the nipples.
Yeah, I didn't notice the nipples the first 2 times. The third time, because it was a bigger screen, I was like, oh.
Well, look at that.
And I'm gonna be honest, like I think she goes to kiss him while her nipples are exposed. So I understand why they banned it. I mean, it doesn't take a genius, but I did like this video more than I Want Your Sex. But there at the same time, there are some sexy scenes in I Want Your Sex, just not enough of them. But I do like. In terms of the song of Justify My Love, when that whole sequence where she's like, you put this in me, so now what? But when you know more of the story, it's like, oh shit, she's kind of like, to have this love affair and then be like, well, now what? Yeah, it's like, I want things. Like, you're married and you have a wife and all this, but what about me? Like, you did this to me. So but which that sentiment has nothing to do with this video, and that's a disappointment. So anyway, are we any other feelings about it?
My only other comment about this, and again, it's more of like a contrast and compare situation. I thought it was interesting at the end of each of these videos, they each had a statement.
Oh yes.
So on Madonna's, it was, poor is the man whose pleasures depend on the permission of another. Yeah. And then on George Michael's video, the last thing that said is explore monogamy. Yeah. So I just feel like I'm so happy that we compared these two videos. I think it's so fun that we just did this. But I just thought it was really interesting that they both ended that
with
way.
Madonna's, poor is the man whose pleasure depends on the permission of another. That is also from that letter.
Yes, it's in its lyrics in the song. Yes.
Yeah. So it's so that to me must mean his wife, right? But then it's funny because when I remember hearing that, song. I remember it being a number 1 song. I remember hearing the song being like and thinking it was a little bit more about the to be honest, like gay experience or bisexual experiences, or because it's like there are so many laws. Like, I mean, it was the gay movement was like, oh, you all have AIDS, and it's like this very nasty dialogue towards the gay community. So it's like they're passing laws of like sodomy laws and all these things, and like, oh, you'll never be able to get married. And it's crazy to think about that because I was a teenager during all of this.
I remember this so vividly. All of it. Like, it was so
hateful,
scary, and just unbelievable.
Designed to make anyone,
what was happening.
Designed to make any gay person or any member of that community feel disgusting. It's like, oh, if you're gay, you're disgusting. And I even remember
it before. I remember AIDS before it was considered a gay disease. I remember all of that. I remember not feeling safe touching a doorknob. That it was a very, very similar to the COVID experience, to be honest. Like when COVID started, I'm like, this is the feeling, the panic, the don't touch anything, don't be near anybody.
Don't breathe on me.
Don't breathe and all those things. So I remember that part of it. And then when it ended up turning, oh my God, it was just horrible. Just horrible. Yeah. All of it was
Yeah. And so I was thinking like, when I remember like playing it back in my mind, it's like I remember thinking, oh, I wonder if that's like a sort of a nod about people that are not straight. And then it's like, here we are, like your rights are being put in front of governments because, they don't agree with your lifestyle. And so therefore we're waiting for permission to live our lives. Yeah. So that's kind of, that was where
that
my
definitely,
mind went.
I could see that for sure.
All righty, Christina. It's voting time. So one of these, and I'm sorry, I still haven't made the vault yet on Spotify. I have to do this.
What the hell?
It's like we these episodes end and I forget everything we did.
I know, me too.
So now, Christina, I have to decide. If you're new to our podcast, we have a vault, ladies and gentlemen, and folks of all ages.
I'm trying to remember what's in the vault. Yeah, I feel like that's influencing my answer.
I know. So in this vault are like, we always pit 2 videos against each other, and then we pick one and put it in the vault. And we've done everything from like Janet Jackson videos to Alanis Morissette videos to videos that are about party videos, rebellion, women in jeopardy. We did Love is a Battlefield versus what's the Madonna one where she's having a baby? Papa Don't Preach.
Papa Don't Preach.
Oh my God. So yeah, we've been doing this a long time, and so but we have quite the collection in this vault. You know, so we have to pick which one makes it.
Yeah, which
we've even done Wham.
We did Wham and we did Madonna.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm trying to remember which.
I think I have my answer. I really do. I think I do.
I'm trying to remember which Madonna we have.
We have Express Yourself.
Right. Okay.
Because it was up against Vogue.
Right.
Now, to that point, we said the reason why we went with Express Yourself is because it was that whole thing. It was like the women empowerment. I can do whatever I want, and she's the leader, and and like she runs this whole city of men, doing work for her.
Yes.
So, and it's much more Madonna than Vogue.
Yeah.
Like in terms of her attitude and who she is.
Okay. So, that's what I thought, and I just couldn't remember, so I'm glad you
Now, for
clarified
Wham, we have, I believe we did Careless Whisper.
We did, this is one of those ones, they're both in the vault, because we could not agree.
Wake Me Up Before You Go.
Well,
and then,
yes. And then we tried to have our listeners decide.
Yeah.
And on Instagram, they chose
tie?
Careless
Oh, they
Whisper,
chose
and on
Careless Whisper.
Facebook, they chose Wake Me Up Before You Go. So we're like, fine, we'll just put them both in this imaginary vault that
we take very
weighs
seriously.
so heavily.
Yeah.
So anyway, but we don't have an actual George Michael. It was Wham.
Don't try and sway me.
So I'm just saying. So anyway, I know my decision.
Oh, this is going to be a disaster.
It is going to be a disaster. Oh my God! Part of our wall just fell down.
Yeah, one of our pads just fell off our wall. Oh my God!
Just when we said that.
Yeah.
So all right, I'm not writing it down. I'm just going to tell you.
Oh yeah, I don't write.
All right, so I'm going with the I Want Your Sex.
It is so down the line for me, and yet I think because this is about a sex video, I think I have to do. I mean, they're so polar opposite in some ways, because one is about monogamy, the other one's about let your freak flag fly and anything goes in this French hotel. So I think because of that, I have to go with Justify My Love. I will put it on Instagram. I'll put it on Instagram and let people decide.
But I feel like the reason why I'm not choosing Justify My Love is because I feel like the Express Yourself video is too close to it. I feel like they're very, very similar.
Okay.
And when someone's opening this up 75 years from now and they're looking at these videos, they're just, they already have an idea of who Madonna is.
Right.
They already have that. And I also feel like the I Want Your Sex with George Michael, although it's a lot tamer, it talks more to the monogamy part of the sex. Like all right, we can still have sex. We don't have to be afraid. It kind of is a sign of the times. Yeah. And I really love his dancing, and I think he's sexy, and I love him.
I think that as much as I don't care for the song Just For My Love, I think as a video, I do like the concept. I do like that it's all these different gender bending variations, and I do think...
Which was also in
Express Yourself. It was, yes. But yeah, I'm sticking to it.
All right.
And that... Oh my God, this is so awkward. I don't like when we don't agree.
Sticking to it? Is that a sex pun?
Actually, I'm going to say I think I Want Your Sex looks stickier than Justify My Love, if we're going there.
That's fine with me. I got stickier watching, I'll tell you that.
Oh my God.
So check out Instagram. Please let us know what you think. No hard feelings. Either way. No hard feelings.
And a hot sex tip is next time you're getting all intimate and cuddly, start talking about your mom and your brother and your father,
your sister,
and how you're not
cousin,
them, and how you're not them. Just for clarity,
I'm not your mom.
Yeah, as I'm
just so
addressing
in the middle of this. By the way, I'm not your mom.
Nothing makes the mood hotter than family talk.
But so there's our controversial sex videos episode. Yeah. And that's it.
And that's it for us and for this episode of Old Roommates.
Thank you for listening. Please remember to follow us on Instagram or YouTube, where we have our episodes as well as a little extra.
And if you have any questions about our show, any suggestions for movies we could revisit, reach out to us at oldroommatespod@gmail.com.
Thanks again for listening.
This is Brian.
And this is Christina. Until next time.